Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a topic that's close to many of our hearts, childcare.
Yeah, it's super important.
We've got this awesome guide from Indeed.com, the job search giant, on childcare provider interview questions. We're going to break it down. For those thinking about this career path, or maybe just curious about what really makes a great provider, buckle up.
Right. It's not just babysitting. It's a whole lot more.
Exactly. So, Indeed's in the know about what employers are looking for, and their guide is like a peek behind the curtain. Let's jump in. What's the big takeaway here? What are employers really after?
Okay, so beyond keeping kids safe, which is obviously huge EE.
Of course, that's got to be the baseline, right?
Totally.
Correct.
But employers are realizing it's about the whole child, their development emotionally, socially.
You mean like not just keeping them from breaking bones, but helping them grow as little humans?
You got it. So Indeed's really hammering on this idea of genuine passion for working with kids. Like, it's got to be more than just, oh, I like kids.
Dupper than that, right?
Yeah. It's that fuel that drives patience, creativity, understanding HW kids, learn and grow.
That makes total sense. And Indeed talks a lot about understanding child development specifically. Why is that so crucial for employers?
Well, think about it. Childcare providers, they're shaping young minds.
They're like architects of tiny humans.
In a way, yeah. And every kid's different, right? Like, you got a toddler who's exploring everything.
Touching everything, putting everything in their mouth.
Yep. And then you got a preschooler starting to figure out friends, sharing all those social skills. A great provider can adapt, meet those different needs at each stage.
So it's almost like being a child whisperer, knowing what makes each kid tick.
You said it. And this leads to another huge thing, handling challenging behavior. Indeed, they're all over this in their interview questions.
Oh, I bet those questions are tough. What kind of curveballs do they throw? Give me an example.
Okay, imagine this. A kid who refuses to eat at daycare. How do you handle that?
Oh, man, every parent's nightmare.
Right. A skilled provider knows it's not about forcing food down. It's about, why are they resisting? Are they tired, overwhelmed, miss their parents?
It's a detective work almost.
Exactly. Like, maybe they use the one-bite rule or something. Encourage trying without pressure.
I love that. So respect for the kid, figuring out the root cause, not just eat your veggies.
Nailed it. And then there's separation anxiety, like first time away from mom and dad.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Heartbreaking for everyone involved.
Right. Building trust is huge there. The guy talks about comforting routines, a special toy, just being patient, present.
Making it feel safe, not just distracting them from being upset.
Exactly. And all this ties back to emotional intelligence. Got to be tuned into the kids and the parents.
Which brings us to those sneaky questions Indeed throws in, right? The ones that really test you.
You know it. Less about specific situations, more about your overall approach. Like, how would you include educational elements in everyday play?
Ooh, that IS tricky. It's not flashcards and quizzes, right?
No way. It's about realizing learning is everywhere. Building a block tower, shapes and sizes, a nature walk, observing the world.
Making it fun, sneaking in the learning. I love it. What other unexpected questions do they have? Okay, hit me with another one of those curveball questions. I want to see what they're getting at.
All right, how about this? What's your strategy for dealing with an unhappy parent?
Whoa, okay, that's different. Why would they ask that?
Think about it. Being a childcare provider, it's not just about the kids. It's about the parents too, right?
Yeah, building relationships, making sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. So this question, it's kind of testing your communication, how you handle conflict.
Like those tough conversations when maybe a parent's upset about something.
You got it. A good provider can listen to those concerns, address them respectfully.
And not get defensive or anything.
Not at all. It's about working together, finding solutions, but always advocating for the child too.
Wow, that's a whole other skill set, like parent whisperer on top of the kid whisperer stuff.
For sure. And Indeed mentions basic qualifications
Yeah.
too. The usual stuff.
Let me guess, high school diploma, maybe a degree in early childhood experience, all that.
Yep, that's the foundation. But here's the thing. They say what makes you stand out is showing those skills.
It's not just saying you have them, but proving it.
Right. Share stories from your experience. Be specific. Show your passion.
Show, don't tell. Classic advice applies here too. And of course, we're going to talk about safety, right? Huge E in childcare.
Absolutely. First aid training, that's non-negotiable.
Got to be prepared for anything. It's one thing to know it in theory, another to stay calm in an actual emergency.
Well, speaking of staying calm, remember that unhappy parent question. That can test your professionalism too.
Big time. It's like you got to acknowledge their feelings, validate their concerns, but still stand your ground if needed.
A tough balance. This whole deep dive is making me realize how complex this job is.
Seriously, it's way more than just playing with kids all day. Nurturing, educating, safety, communication.
Don't forget patience.
Oh, yeah, that's a superpower in this field for sure. Kids test your patience like nothing else.
And Indeed says, the best providers are always learning, growing their skills, adapting to each kid.
Always evolving, like childcare is never stagnant. Right?
Exactly. And that commitment to learning, it shows you really care, that you're invested, which benefits the kids, ultimately.
Okay, so after all this, I'm curious, what do you think is the most crucial quality for a provider? Like the one thing they absolutely have to have?
That's a tough one. There are so many. But if I had to pick, I'd say the ability to create a sense of safety and security for the kids.
Makes sense. It's that foundation, right? Like we were saying, that safe haven for kids who are away from their parents for the first time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And when a child feels safe, I think, then they can really be themselves, be curious, explore, take risks.
Thrive, basically.
Exactly. A good provider creates that environment where kids feel loved, respected, like they can be themselves without judgment.
So it's not just about keeping them physically safe, but emotionally safe too.
Absolutely. And when you think about how important those early years are for development for their whole life, it's huge GE. No wonder employers are focusing on this stuff.
Makes you realize what a big responsibility this is, right? It's not just a job, it's shaping little humans.
So true. They're influencing those early experiences, social skills, their love of learning. It's a privilege, really.
Totally agree. To be a part of that journey, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered a lot today. Anyone listening who's thinking about a career in childcare or even just curious about it, I hope this has been helpful.
We talked about passion, empathy, communication skills, the importance of always learning.
The challenges, the rewards, it's definitely more than meets the eye.
Way more.
So as we wrap up, I want to ask our listeners out there, what do you think is the most crucial quality for a childcare provider? Patience, creativity, communication, something else? Let us know.
And remember, caring for kids is a journey. It's always evolving. The best providers never stop learning, growing, adapting to each child.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.